Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. It is 7:37 on Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. This is the regular school board meeting of the Board of Education of Warren Township High School, District 121. That we are first going to do the pledge. So if we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Great question. Where's? There we go. There we go, on the screen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, next is the approval of agenda. If there's any changes or items that need to be pulled from consent agenda, now is the time to do so. If not, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Motion by DeMonte, second by Anderson. Mrs. Squires? Yes. Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mrs. Martinez?
Yes.
Dr. Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
And Mr. DeMonte?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
Great. Next up is recognitions. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Weisman.
All right.
Please.
We usually bring people up to the podium, so I'm going to have Candy, if you could. We invited Candy back to the meeting. I know she was just here to present on the communication plan, but we wanted to celebrate that. Just a couple weeks ago, we were notified that we received 2 Publication and Digital Media Excellence Awards from the National School Public Relations Association. One was for our biannual newsletter that goes out to all the taxpayers. We mail that out to make sure that everybody that supports the school district through their taxes gets something physical in their mailbox. Twice a year, they get an update on some things that are happening, how they can be involved. Candy's been an integral part of that, from the inception of the idea to executing and making sure that they get in the mailboxes. Also, the second award was for the video that we call it our hype video that we worked on in the fall as a district. Candy coordinated that, found a partner for that, and then executed all the details for that. And we use that not only on social media, but when we do 8th grade orientation, when we bring 9th graders in, when we're introducing the district to parents. So we're hoping that's a tool. We plan on using that for a tool for many years. And I just wanted to recognize Candy for her work on that. It's a great, really great honor to be on that list of national recognition. So.
Thanks. I'm really proud of these two pieces that we put together. And one of the things that he mentioned earlier in your Facebook Live, but not tonight, is we really tried to tie them together. So we had a link to the video in the mailer to kind of bring the 2 pieces together and highlight them that way. And then, just as always, there's a huge team of people working on this stuff all the time. It's a huge collaboration, so as much as I'm very proud of it, there was a lot more than me working on all this.
So, Candy, if I may take a moment of your time. Mm-hmm. Coming from when I was here before there was dirt, and we had no public relations. We had nothing, and I mean nothing. And the work that you've done in a very short period of time you've been with us, even though there's other people involved, you're still coordinating it and making it happen. Mm-hmm. I am very impressed, and I want to thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do with these is making sure that the whole community knows what we're doing here and how great it is, so that when things like referendums come up or anything along those lines, they already kind of see the great work that's already being done in the building. So.
I appreciate that reflection too, like taking the comments that we received during the referendum and kind of embedding those in the work that you're doing now. That's great that you're doing that. Very nice.
Okay, this isn't on the on my slide deck, but I do want to ask Mary to come up. Mary, yep, you want to come up?
Mary!
Woo!
So Mary is retiring this year. This is her last board meeting. I don't know if board members know the amount of work. Natalia knows. I know Natalia knows. Tony might know. There's a lot of work that goes, and Tasia knows. So, okay, half of you live this.
Half of us don't
Just
know
doing the
anything.
math right now. But there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into making sure that we have the right people here. And so Mary is involved in the process that you guys see when you approve people, but she's involved with their entire the Warren life experience. So from the time that we post a position to putting together interviews, people to interview, to getting them ready for you to see and to approve, fingerprinting them. You've probably held everybody's hand in the school district. She's probably the only one that's held all of our hands in the school district, supporting them with benefits and leaves and unforeseen family circumstances, to helping them leave when they leave. And so this is Mary's time to leave. We have, on behalf of the school board, we have just a little, I don't know what you call this.
It's a monolith.
It's a monolith, prism monolith, for Mary, just to recognize her 16 years of service to the school district. The campuses do a little bit of recognition when they end as a building, and Mary's group is the district office and the school board, so I just wanted to take some time here to recognize her for her work. There you go, Mary.
Speech.
Mary,
Speech. Speech.
do you have any words? Yeah.
Person, but I have enjoyed every minute working with every single one of you and over the years, and you know, I'm not going too far. I probably will still show up, because even before I worked at Warren, I always used to go to the school board meetings at Woodland, so it's always been an interest of mine. So yeah, so I look forward to seeing you all around in the future. Yep.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jean, you're up next.
Jean.
Come on up, Jean.
Dean.
So Jean actually ordered these, so she knows exactly what's coming. But Jean's been here for 23 years. I remember when I did my introductory interviews with the school board after you hired me, I sat down and Jean helped coordinate those sit-downs, and a constant comment during those interviews was the amount of support that Jean provides to the school district, just in so many ways. I do also remember when I came in for that first interview, Jean came and sat with me, explained the history of some of the photos on the wall, talked about when the district office was in like a house somewhere.
Yeah.
Which still blows me away, and has always been able to provide some of that historical perspective of the school district, which is really important for leaders. So you definitely interact with Jean on a regular basis. You are seeing her work before, during, and after every board meeting, and in between, and helping coordinate all of your events. And she's been here helping support the board for a good number of years. So she's seen this, she's held it, because she helped me. She did the ordering for them. I'm not gonna pretend like it wasn't more than that, but I'll give this to her. Here, I'll give this to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we are really grateful for Jean.
Speech.
Do you have any words that you?
Do I have a few
Yeah. Do you have any
words?
words that you want to share?
Well, I think I probably said them the other day. I have thoroughly enjoyed this very unique opportunity to be able to work with the school board and with our administrators and our staff. It has just been a joy. I think the perspective that I'm able to see is everyone and what they do and how they contribute, and it just is a fascinating place to be. I have thoroughly enjoyed my relationships with you, with working with you, and I wish you all the best, and good luck starting your next year, and it's just been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, hang on. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, Gene, so, it's 20 years I've been on this board.
Yes.
And you gave me my very first packet, because the packets used to come from the district office. So I came in 2004, and she gave me my packet when I ran for the board the first time. Yes, handed it to me, and then she looked at it after I brought it back and said, stuff like that, and she was so helpful. It's just crazy that it's been that long. But you think about all the change. She's had 4 superintendents, 4 business managers, I don't know how many board members, and through it all, you've just you're like a duck on top. You're just going like this, but I'm sure you're just paddling like hell underneath, like this, And your family may be surprised to know that you're flexible, because you managed to change and do things with all these different groups of people and still be successful. So just so you know now, she's flexible. Well, a little anyway. But it's really just been, the way you just helped us with, we went from board packets and big stacks of paper to electronic things, and you made all that seem so seamless. And you just did a fantastic job, and you've really become a friend of mine. So I just want you to know that I'm going to miss you, my friend.
I'm going to miss you too.
So good luck, and please don't kill Jim. Okay? Give the
course
poor
not.
guy a break, all right? Come
I
on.
will, I will. All of you, but I know that the great things that you're doing and the great work that you're doing will be wonderful for our students, our staff, and our community. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. It's always really neat. I know some of us have only been on the board a short time. I think John was uniquely poised to be able to talk to Jean and her work here, but we see the work that you do. Whether, Jean, we've heard about the work you've done through the years. Mary, we've heard about the work you do. Candy, we see the work you do, and we're constantly, as a board, just amazed by the people that we have here as employees, and we have some top-notch people. It's sad to see people retire. We're happy for you. We hope we can hire replacements that will be a quarter of what you're all capable of doing. But genuinely, we appreciate the years you've put into this organization, and just thank you again one last time on behalf of the board. So thank you.
Retirement's not so bad, you can always run for a board.
Steve has run for 1 or 2 or 20 in his lifetime. Talk to Steve if you're interested in running for any kind of board in Lake County. All right, we're done with recognitions. We're on to public comments. Jean, did we have anybody that signed in?
We did not.
Okay, so this is an opportunity for the community members to address the board if there are any in attendance. Is there anybody here that would like to speak at this time? No? Okay. We will move on then to committee reports. Is anything you want to add to
We have nothing
what
to add.
you provided us? Okay. So all the board members have received the committee reports and would have read them, so thank you. If nothing more to add, we'll move on to superintendent's reports.
I do want to just recognize as one of the submissions in the superintendent's report that we received some initial results from our 5 Essentials survey, which is a climate and perception survey. And I'm really proud of all the staff this year. It's the first year since prior to the pandemic that the school had scores that were high enough to be labeled as moderately organized. We've always been not organized or partially organized. So really appreciate the team's work. This is a lot of staff and leaders working hard throughout the year. Our most improved area was in the perception that staff have around our professional development, which is something we've put a lot of energy and effort into and involved more people in developing this year. And I think some of the fruits of that labor are seen in the perception survey. So I just wanted to call that one out. I appreciate everybody's work and the district, all the employees that contributed to that. And I'm happy to answer any other questions on any of the reports.
Danny, before you go on, how do they determine how organized we are? Just a general question. I mean,
Yeah.
that's weird.
So there are maybe 50 questions that they ask staff members about the regularity of certain types of activities that happen in the school district. So staff come and to simplify, say, the school district provides training that's relevant to what I can use in the classroom, then that notches us up a little bit. If students respond and say, my teachers engage me in meaningful discussion and make me think, then that notches us up a little bit. But if students and staff say, we feel it's unsafe in the hallway, then that notches us down. Just some simplified examples.
Like a survey.
It is a perception survey, yeah.
It's not.
You don't get to speak.
You can talk, but nobody's listening.
Yeah, nobody's listening.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
I just wanted
There's a technical problem.
There was.
to highlight the library stats report because I, have had kids in the school for the last several years and have heard about the library being such a great place to be during study hall. And I enjoyed seeing all the statistics because I know the library does a wide range of programming and reaches a lot of students in different ways. And particularly appreciate the way it creates a place of belonging during study hall for some kids who are looking for what's going on there.
And I think from a recent, that's very nice of you to call out. I think from a recent visit, I learned that we have one district licensed certified librarian, correct? And we have a couple people that work for her, but whenever I hear the term like programs and, I want to make sure all the nice things that you say do directly go back to our librarian that is responsible for that programming. So it goes back to that comment of just top-notch people working for Warren Township. So when they provide programs like that, spaces like you alluded to that are kid-friendly and kids want to be at, and then we're making improvements to these spaces, I think it's just great. So Susan, that was a really nice call out on that. Thank you. Is there anyone else that has questions for Danny on anything in his superintendent's report? Okay, if not, you will notice we will move on to consent agenda. You will, based on some recognition of the last meeting and how many individual items we had a great planning meeting. How much could we fit into consent agenda? So seeing that so I guess the lesson learned is be careful what you ask for, Steve Carlson. But everyone had an opportunity to pull something if they wanted to discuss it, and seeing that nobody did, I'll take one for the team, and I believe I will attempt to read this unless anyone would want to. Yep, judging by the laugh, here I go. I move to approve the consent agenda items, which include personnel recommendations, numbers Exhibit A, Exhibit A numbers 125 to 129 as posted, and Exhibit B 42 to B 51 as posted, the regular meeting minutes and executive session minutes of May 27th, 2025, the payment of bills dated June 10th, 2025 in the amount of $4,866,487.87, to keep the executive session minutes closed for March 18th, 2025, April 22nd, 2025, and May 27th, 2025, the resolution authorizing the destruction of certain verbatim recordings, the occupational therapy services provider agreements with, Dina Denny Physical Therapy, PC, for the 2025 extended school year and the 2025-2026 school year, the speech services provider agreement with Dina Denny Physical Therapy, PC, for the 2025-2026 school year, physical therapy services provider agreements with Renee C. Johnson, MPT, for the 2025 extended school year and the 2025-2021 Lake County, Illinois, designating interest in the educational, operations and maintenance, debt services, transportation, and working cash funds. The list of financial depositories as presented in accordance with Board Policy 4:30, Revenue and Investments. To reauthorize the resolution for the treasurer's participation in the Illinois School District Liquid Asset Fund. And the proposal for professional services for the O'Plain Campus Locker Room Project with Gwalt Hamilton Associates Incorporated as presented. Roll call vote.
Second.
Oh, yes. Thank you. There was a second, so now roll call vote.
Motion by DeMonte and second by Martinez. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Squires?
Yes.
Dr. Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mrs. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. DeMonte?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
All right. Um, Next up is the discussion items. I think the first one has to do with the locker room construction update. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Weisman, who will probably turn it over to others.
True. We're excited. We got a team here. Chris has a team that's going to walk us through. Give me a second so I can jump over to their presentation. We're going to walk through some just visual slides to just keep the board updated, and then talk about an upcoming bid and some options that the board doesn't need to approve today, but when the bid comes to you in the future, you'll have to make some decision. You have an opportunity to decide to pull some extra things into that bid.
Evening. So this evening, we have Shannon Baird. She is our architect from DLA, and Chad Alexander. He's vice president at Lamp Incorporated, our construction manager. So Shannon is going to go through all the drawings, not all of them, but a good number of them, of the locker room, and then the last slide will be some of the alternates that we're looking at, just informational purposes for the board, for some decisions that will come later. Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us here tonight. Make sure I'm
You
catching
can
up
lower
on the
that,
mic.
Shannon, if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm probably the shortest one here. Okay. Oops. Oh, went too far. Okay. Just a general floor plan of what we are proposing. It's a roughly 23,000 square foot locker room addition that is added to the south end of the Eau Plaine campus. So that's essentially everything that you're seeing in that reddish color to the left. It includes 2 PE locker rooms and 2 team locker rooms, as well as a new training room, some staff offices, toilet rooms, new IT closet, and way at the top on the, is there a laser on here? Oh, okay. That's okay. Way at the top, we've got a small addition, a small portion of the addition extends at the top of the page, adjacent to the field house, that includes an elevator, so that from inside there is accessibility between the gym and the field house, right close by. On the kind of the lower right side in orange is the existing training room, which is adjacent to the pool. That is the location we are proposing to renovate for the boys' the boys' pool locker room, and it would also be the boys' team pool locker room as well. So We have a girls' team?
The girls' locker room is just above the pool, and that one still works quite well. The issue with the boys is that they're in the basement, which is flooding, so this brings them up a level and still adjacent to the pool. And this is some views from outside, so renderings of what the new addition are going to look like. So this is if you're standing out in the existing student parking lot, kind of looking towards the existing gym entrance a little to the left. Yeah, sorry. And then this is due south.
Go back a slide. I just
Oh,
want to make
sure.
sure everybody knows what we're looking at. So this.
Yeah, on the, thank you. And then this is a view, the straight-on south elevation. So what we're seeing here are a few small windows that would be frosted, but allowing some natural light into all of our locker rooms, and proposing a nice illuminated W sign to help highlight the addition, as well as make it a little more prominent from the parking lot.
And moving a little further to the west, this would be a new vestibule that connects a new pathway to the football field back into the locker rooms and adjacent gymnasium. And then we do have a nice hill heading down to the west to get to the lower level of our field house area. So this is where the addition sort of wraps around and connects both the gym and the field house.
The little white thing on the far left is the kind of a garage door that goes into the field house.
Correct. Yep.
That's in existence now. So basically, they're not covering that up.
Correct. Yeah. The addition is coming close to it, but it is not capturing that completely. So.
And it looks like what is currently tennis courts will be partly become the footprint of the locker room, but partly be grass.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there, I'm trying to pick up on a comment that you just made, a hill. Is there an opportunity here with the hill and the grading to be able to help with drainage away from the property? Is that what I'm picking up on?
To a point, yes. The field house does sit in the floodplain.
Right.
So there's only so much we can do
Nope.
with that right now.
Right.
But we are doing our best to improve
Yep.
the
I
drainage
appreciate
in that
the
area.
attention to that aspect of it, if it can be accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
If not, we have bigger issues with it.
Speaking of floodplain, you mentioned earlier the boys' locker room is flooding. The current one? Are
The-
you going to lift that, or?
No, that's adjacent to the pool area.
Right.
That's the existing, that's essentially going to be vacated. I understand it might just become storage. So it would not be occupied by the students any
Renovation is
longer.
up a level.
The store, whatever, doesn't mind getting wet.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Put it on pallets. We'll just use it to store furniture on pallets.
and right now it looks like probably, yeah, it looks like it should be storage right now. Let's not kid ourselves. It's, yeah.
Get moldy. Seriously, I mean, wouldn't you like fill that thing in or what?
No, I don't think it's necessary to do that. I think it can be left well enough alone. At this point, it is surrounded by the rest of the building, so. Just another view, you can see a little bit more of the vestibule down at the field house entrance. So there is at-grade access both at the field house lower level and at the first floor into the locker room areas.
There was a man door just to the right of that garage door. So now
Correct.
That's inside the building now?
Correct, that is now within.
Okay. Thank you.
And then a bit of a night shot. Fun. And I pared this down from about 30 slides, so bear with us. Now we're moving inside the building. So this is what we're looking at. The doors on the right are doors going into the gym. Those are existing doors that we're going to replace as part of the addition, but this would be the farthest east doors of the gym. And this is the new corridor, so essentially the gym's on the right, and our new locker rooms are on the left.
Right side wall is now an outside wall.
Correct.
And you're-
Yes.
That'll be indoors after you're done.
Yes.
Got it.
So we are proposing bringing in some branding throughout with some creative paint to try and establish some identity, brighten things up, make it a little more fun. And then this is the opposite end of the corridor. So right now the gym would be on the left, behind the words Warren, and to the right are the locker rooms. Just a little farther away. And then this is that same corridor coming around the corner. So the doors that we see on the right would lead to the path out to the football field. So off to the left are the locker room entrances. It's that same corridor, just kind of look in the different direction. And this is a view inside one of the team locker rooms. So we are proposing no ceilings in there, a little more industrial, but simplified for the athletic aspect. And then one of the PE locker rooms as well. And then this would be the coach's office. So essentially, both on the boys' side and the girls' side, to one side of the windows would be the team locker room, and the other side would be the PE locker room. So it's basically a kind of a mirror image, whether it's girls or boys.
To interrupt, with the team locker room, you had one bench between 2 rows of giant lockers. And if you've ever tried to put football equipment on, I mean, is that sufficient?
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're going to have a ton of room, but I think there will be sufficient room for the amount of kids that would be in there. So,
In the locker room, can you go back to the coach's room? So the male coaches can look into the girl?
No, this,
It's one sector.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was like,
PE on one side, athletic on the other side. There's the same thing for the women,
got it.
only on the other side.
yeah, so if this were the men's coaches locker room, to the left would be the boys' team locker room, to the right would be the boys'
But no one can
PE.
see in?
No.
Okay. Just
No,
making sure.
and it would be a mirror image for the girls. And then this is our lower level. So the doors that we're looking at there on the left, those are the existing doors that go into the field house.
We're
So
outside
they're
right now,
they are currently outside at the bottom of the landscape stairs coming down. And so looking a little bit to the right, you see some stairs that will take us up to the locker room addition, and the elevator lobby is also adjacent to the stairs. And then this is corridor at the top of the stairs. Looking towards the left, that takes us back to the existing, I think it's B5 entrance. So straight ahead would be the weight room. And the gym is to the right, so through the doors on the right you would get into the gym. So this is the west side of the gym.
Yeah, that goes into where all those exercise bikes and all that kind of crap is.
Correct,
In the
yep.
back, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the end of the existing corridor. So the gym would be to our left, the weight room to our right, and then through the yellow portal would take you out to the new addition.
Pause here.
Sure.
Is this, so later on when you guys talk about options, is this floor here one of the options?
Yes, it
Maybe you could
is.
just touch on that, and then later they'll connect to that.
Yeah, so in the base bid scenario, we are touching essentially where the yellow portal is and carry that straight across to the right. So that square would be removed because it's being directly impacted by the new addition. While we were field verifying, just kind of checking sizes of everything, we had noticed the existing corridor, where essentially we're standing in that corridor looking down. There are a lot of mismatched tiles along there. And we learned that corridor is sort of an extension of the existing weight room. So I think the abuse of the floor, it's showing a little bit. So we had talked about, as a potential alternate, we would get a price to replace this floor. And this is where we would talk about, depending on how the price comes in, if that's something that the board wants to move forward with, we would at least have a number.
And they're going to talk to you about all the alternates holistically. That picture just shows, they're going to reference that later on.
I know a little something about weight rooms. What are you going to replace the floor with?
A rubber floor?
And replaceable how often?
It should hold up yeah,
People drop them.
correct. The floor isn't, it's not a super thick floor intended for weight room. because this is the corridor, that's not its main purpose, but it will absorb the shock of the free weights much better than the existing hard floor that's
What
out there.
about damage to the floor?
They're
No,
not- this is not in
the rubber tile will hold up a little better.
Am I
No.
misunderstanding?
Yes, this is
Okay.
the hall, they're talking about the hallway.
Yeah, we aren't
hallway's
replacing the weight
cracking
room, just the
from the-
hallway. The hallway itself has become an extension
Gonna be in
of
the
the
weight
weight room.
room.
I'm sorry?
What's the flooring in the weight room?
I believe that's a thick rubber floor
Okay.
that's intended for the weight room, yeah.
Just to clarify, so this space that we're looking at here, are you speaking to where it says like down right here, where they meet? Okay.
Yeah, I can go back to the floor plan.
The other side of the,
Whoops.
Into about this section due to the work we're going to be doing right here, then this whole section is what we're talking about, putting together a price for as an alternate. That's it, it's kind of added to the original scope, that's why it's an alternate, so you guys can decide later on, once the bids come in, if you'd like to move forward with it.
And so that flooring just in that column is what you're specifically, okay, thank you.
Because it sounds like the, whether it's gym class or the athletics, they're coming out here and maybe doing weighted lunges up and down the hallway or those types of things, carrying weights with them.
Thank you, that helps.
Thanks, Chad. Try and fly through these quick again. I think we're just about at the end. So this is a view of the existing entrance to the pool area. So at the bottom of the stairs, just to the left, is the door that takes you into the pool. Going up the stairs, that's the existing trainer's room. So that is where the renovated pool locker room would be for the boys, yes. And then this just shows some additional paint to kind of highlight, because right now there's really nothing demarking that that's where the pool is. And then this is a quick view inside the pool locker room. All of the walls would be ceramic tile, would have an epoxy floor, so fairly suitable for the pool condition. And that's the end.
Looks good.
yeah, I like the branding.
Me too.
It's exciting. We've been, as a board, talking about this, and even probably previous boards, for a very long time. And it's nice to see the visuals and just kind of imagine what our kids are going to have access to. And it goes back to just having respectful facilities. Like, kids want pride in their school, and when we don't care for them, and it's the work that you guys have designed and showing us, I feel like it meets the expectations that we have, and we're pretty excited. And the branding and maybe a little splash of paint, which I know is the cheapest thing. We probably could have done that already, but I think you're hitting the mark. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then Chris.
So we're going to go over some bid alternates. When we were pulling the project together and talking about some of the needs in our 10-year facility plan, our director of our buildings and grounds and Pat and some other people had given us some ideas as to things that we really should be doing at some point. And with the construction going on and having trades on site, it makes sense to maybe be able to do some of these things. You save costs by not having to bring people back. So through economies of scale, we would be saving some money. So the first alternate is the men's swim locker room. You've already seen a picture of it. The board did have a discussion back in February about it. All these alternates are currently, because the bid went out last week, right? Bids went out last week. These alternates are included in the bid, but they're bid separately. And then once the bids come in and they're opened, then we will present them to the board, and then the board can have a discussion. Yes, we move forward on this project, or no, we don't want to do that. So each one of these will be separate. The rubber tile in the hallway by the weight room, because they're using I didn't realize they were using the hallway as a, like, adjoining weight room, so they're dropping the weights on the floor and cracking the tiles, and if you go down that hallway, you'll see tiles from all different kinds of colors because we can't match anymore, so it's a little messy, but alternate number 3, we originally talked about the south parking lot, which is going to be right near the new locker room, but there's other, like the athletic entrance that has some issues, so we're kind of moving that off of this grouping, and we're going to look at it later this summer.
Correct. Yeah, there's going to be another bid release probably in the fall, once the civil engineers have a better, allowed more time to establish what needs to be done in that parking lot and make some recommendations. So we decided to push that part of the work out as far as the bidding piece of it, because that's not done until next spring anyway. And so that way we'll have accurate drawings to come back to you with for a recommendation. And that, again, the base part of what will be done around the addition itself and to meet those needs will be part of the base bid, and then the alternate will be for the parking lot, which I think is on your 10-year plan. But again, kind of doing it part of this project, it's one kind of disruption to everything at one time within 1 year, instead of spacing it out and where there's an inflation of cost year over year, and again, the economies of scale, which Chris mentioned.
Yes, and in that parking lot, we also had a traffic study, so our civil engineer came out and looked at drop-off time and pickup time with parents and everything, so they're looking at like alternatives to traffic flow and everything, so that's in development right now. So the gym roof replacement, that was scheduled to happen next summer, and usually Chuck Crowley works on our roofs. Shannon has been in discussion with Chuck because we were like, okay, we're building this addition, and then the next year they're going to come out and they're going to start tearing off the gym roof and everything. And in our discussions with Chuck, he was like, you should just do it with the new addition, and we'll consult and help you out as much as you can, but it doesn't make sense to put a new addition on with a new roof and then have people climbing over to do the gym roof. So that's alternate number 4. We do have some doors in alternate number 5 that are in the front of the building that I don't want to say miss, but for our door project that we did last year, they were not included in the project. So our
Front of the building on the south side?
well, along where the buses drop off, right in the front of the building, there's 3 sets of doors there that.
Go into the office?
Yeah.
Well, I think we've done the theater part, but just right in the front of the building, there's like 3 sets of doors.
They're behind the columns.
Yeah.
There's some brick columns.
Okay. Okay. Chad might have to explain this one because.
This is part, because it's electrical, we're bidding electrical right now as part of bid release 1. We're gonna go ahead and get a price for the replacement of some of the heads out in the south parking lot. But if we decide to recommend that one, we may wait to do that and award that at a later date with bid release 2. So again, that'll be something to consider as part of the south parking lot project. But it could be done either way as well, but we might be relocating some light poles as part of that design, so we wanted to hold off and keep that as an option, but get a price for it with our electrician that's bidding bid release 1, so it's through the course of bidding and not as necessarily a change order later.
And why would we get new light heads?
I believe they're just, they need to be upgraded, they're just outdated.
Yeah, right now we are renting machines that provide light in the parking lot. It's very dark. So the light heads would improve the lighting and we wouldn't have to rent the machines anymore. And the last alternate is that W that you saw on the south wall, the backlit. So that is going to be one of the alternates. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Good.
Right. Well, thank you very
You
much.
don't know enough to ask the right questions anyway. It looks good.
Glad somebody said that, yeah.
That's why we have a construction manager.
So we are hoping to have, we're hoping to see, to check availability for the school board. I think I provided the date in the past for, is it July 15th? So we're hoping that we can have at least 4 board members that are available on July 15th to have a special meeting just to approve or not approve or make selections around the bid. So I think I provided that date, and maybe after the meeting, Jean and I can check in with everybody and just ask about your availability. If we have the special board meeting, that allows us to just get started on the project a little bit earlier so we can hit our dig date.
Yeah, it's mainly ordering materials, starting that process. So that's why we'd like to take advantage of as much time as we can. The bids are actually due on the 24th of June. So we'll have those, we'll do scope review meetings with everyone, and then be able to come back with where the projects come in at and what alternates you might be able to consider. And those decisions on the alternates don't have to happen that meeting if we want to pause for another meeting or two, because we do require that the contractors keep their prices open for 60 to 90 days, so that if for some reason we want to wait to have a bigger discussion about a couple of them, we can do that.
So the 15th is a Tuesday. That prior week, the 7th through the 11th, do you guys think that we'd have enough information that if board members wanted to come in and look at any of those bid options, they could sit down with Chris and I that week before and come in? Absolutely. Okay. So that would probably be our offer, is we can get information too, so that the week prior, it's a big project, it's a big commitment. If you want some information, you can come and meet with Chris and I.
Think about the 15th, and I'm available the 15th. I'm hopefully a lot of us are, because if we're going to talk alternative bids and those have dollar amounts attached to it, it would be nice for most of us to at least weigh in on that. I don't know how comfortable I feel if only 4 people showed up, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I would encourage all of us to check our calendars. And if we're all here, then I think it's appropriate to talk that. But I appreciate the recognition that it may need to be delayed, and it might, until our next meeting. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You know, it's funny, we spend millions of dollars, but you put in front of us a light up W, and we all get excited. All right, the next item I asked that we put on here, which is, since we're still a fairly new reorganized board, it's an opportunity to reflect. And I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity if we wanted to change anything procedurally. Sometimes I hear either told to me or I overhear things. I know Steve has a suggestion because I overheard it, and he told me about to speed up the meeting, just so that my fellow board members know we're going to make an attempt to push as much into consent as possible so we don't have as many individual action items. If we do that, it helps with the speed of the meeting. It would require you to request to pull something if you want to discuss it, but seeing that we all should be reading the packet ahead of time, I'm just going to trust that that happens. But that's one way for us to keep this moving. Another way is, you probably heard me 2 meetings ago, that if I hear us starting to repeat ourselves, I'm going to keep us going. I think it was a committee of the whole where I just said, okay, let's move on, and you can get your individual questions answered. I'm going to try to keep this moving so we're not here all night long. We all have families, and all of our people have families that they want to go back to, so we're well aware of that. Loved ones that you need to return to, or you're just your bed. I understand both. So there's that. The third thing before I turn it over to Steve is I had to talk about his idea, is anybody here has the ability to put an item on the agenda. I know most of you know this, but we have gone to planning meetings with Beth and I and Dr. Huisman, every governing meeting or regular meeting and every now committee of the whole. We hold meetings with him, both of us. So if there's something you want to see on the agenda, you are all empowered and entitled and have a right to see something on there. So speak up, let us know. We'll figure out where it goes on the agenda and we'll make it happen. I want to see, if something needs to be talked about, let's get it on here. Let's get it formally on here, open, transparent in the meeting. I don't want anyone feeling like their needs aren't getting met. Now, Steve had an idea for improvement. It had to do with when we were approving all these individual action items. Do you want to mention?
Robert's Rules of Order clearly states that the chair, upon completion of a previous agenda item that's been approved unanimously, the chair can request a lead from the previous roll call. All everybody has to do is say yes. And he doesn't have to call the roll. The roll doesn't have to be called each time. At any time, anybody says no, there's an automatic roll call. All it does is speed up the process.
So what would I say then?
Is there a lead from assuming the previous roll call was unanimous?
So we're going to have 3 action items tonight. I'm going to practice, Steve.
Okay, assuming the previous roll call was unanimous, yes?
Yep.
Is there a lead from the previous roll call? Everybody says yes.
Is there lead?
A lead from the previous roll
lead.
call. That's it. If everybody says yes, there's no necessity for a roll call. If anybody says no, there's a roll call.
Okay. I really appreciate that. This is coming from Steve's experience and knowledge of Robert's Rules of Order. If we may, actually, maybe I'll ask, and you're feeling pretty confident?
Google it.
Google it. How do you two, have you heard of this, not heard of this?
Gene heard about it from me the first day I was on the board.
Is this something you feel like we should just get another opinion on, or you feel like
I mean, generally, my perspective is if the board agrees to their process and they're comfortable with it and they all interpret it the same way, then it's probably fine.
Okay, how's this? We'll try it tonight and then maybe I'll Google it as Steve recommends.
Not the end of the world, either way.
It sounds very clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Are we comfortable with that change? Try to speed this up. Is there anything else for just meeting improvement and efficiencies that any of you want to bring up to do?
If one of us wanted something to come out of consent so that we could discuss it, would you prefer that we, say something to you before we show up for the meeting, or just?
So if we know, great question. So now that you know there's a planning meeting before every cow and every regular meeting, although you wouldn't know the topics at that point, so that can't happen. So as soon as you know, the earlier the better, because then Gene can adjust the language in diligent.
Okay.
And then.
It'd be Lisa moving forward.
What's that?
It'd be Lisa.
Oh, that's right. See, look at that. I just
gotta
assume
practice
you're
with her.
always here. Look at that. Thank you
practice
for
with
that
her.
correction, yeah. So, yes, it would be better to have that adjusted ahead of the meeting, just,
What about saying Monday by noon? Monday by 10 o'clock in the morning?
review the packet. If you have anything that you want pulled, just let Lisa know, and she'll pull it out. That would be helpful.
It shouldn't be a requirement, it should be necessary, or the normal procedure, but at the beginning of a meeting, if anybody
Oh, yeah, we can always
direct the
pull.
chair, item number 43, I'd like to
Why
take
we
off the
approve the
consent
agenda.
agenda.
Yep, that's why we approve the agenda, and I always ask if there's
When
anything
you
that
ask
you
for
want
approval,
removed.
that's the
Yeah.
last time you could do that.
Yep.
Got it.
You always have the ability to pull something for discussion, and discussion is not a bad thing. Discussion is a good thing, because it's transparency and you getting your answers. Sometimes it's not great when we get them all ahead of time, because no one understands the thought process of why we make the decisions in which we do. So if you want that discussion in public, or you just speak up. Anyone else for efficiency changes? that
Just
we-
to clarify that
Please.
process, what we would probably do if you let us know beforehand, just to make sure I understand, it would allow us to let the board president or whoever's running the meeting know that someone requested an item be pulled, so we can have language available for him. The motion would he'd still have to say, or she, whoever's running the meeting would still have to say, does anybody have an item they would like to pull? And you would say, yes, I would like to pull item A, or whoever's running the meeting would say, the board president or whoever's running the
Yep.
meeting could just say, I had a request, we're going to pull item A from the
And that's
agenda.
fine, and that language, my understanding, is always available in case we do pull it, so.
You would
I
make a motion
appreciate
to
that.
approve all the consent agenda items minus item A,
That's right, as amended.
as read.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the discussion on that. If there's anything else, don't hesitate to bring it up. So we're going to move on to action items. The first one is approval of textbook purchases. So can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Someone needs to read the motion. And I can do it I move to approve the textbook purchase for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Motion by DeMonte, second by Carlson. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Fields?
Yes.
Mrs. Squires?
Yes.
Mrs. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. DeMonte?
Yes.
6 yes, motion carries.
Okay, for this next one, I had to add some language, so I'm going to read the motion. It's about our chiller replacement at O'Plain. I move to approve the O'Plain campus chiller replacement bid and award Oakbrook Mechanical in the amount of $367,000 as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, if there's a lead,
Is there a lead from the previous roll call?
is there a lead from the previous roll call?
Yes.
Does everybody have to
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
He needs to hear yes, that's it, and not a no.
Trip over this one.
You
All
got
right,
it.
there we go. Moving on.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Just one other check. I mean, I'm so nervous about dollar amount. Sometimes with high dollar amounts, we need the
Actually-
individual, where people stand on those.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, with a financial, you shouldn't do the lead from the previous.
Right, I think we individually need to approve financial items.
Financial items need to be a
All
roll
right, so
call.
let's do a roll call vote
Correct.
to cover our bases.
Sorry.
Okay, so Mr. DeMonte made the motion?
Yep.
Seconded by Mr. Anderson?
Yep.
You'd like me to roll call?
Yes, I do.
Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Mrs. Martinez?
Yes.
Dr. Fields? Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mrs. Squires?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. DeMonte? 6 yes, motion carries.
Last item, I don't see any language on here, but I'm assuming you would like an approval. Is that correct?
Yes, I apologize that we don't have language.
No, that's
on
fine.
that.
I'll just, it's about the approving the staffing recommendations. So I move to approve the staffing recommendations for the 2025-2026 school year as presented. Any discussion? All right, this one, since there's no dollar amount, is there a lead from the previous roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Or motion carries.
Can I use the opportunity to just also, the formal recommendation was for lead teachers, for multilingual teachers, but I did want to use the opportunity to discuss thoughts that the board had on a future staffing consideration for attendance specialists and possibly reusing attendance specialists. Is it okay if I take a couple minutes and
Yeah,
ask?
please do. I mean, it was in action, so I just kind of actioned on that. But yeah, please take this moment to address those.
So it's not part of the formal recommendation right now, but related because it's staffing. We, a few years ago, the school board approved 2 attendance specialists, one at each campus. And they focused their efforts on students that initially had a lot of attendance concerns. They've shifted some of their focus this year to be students that are getting close to having attendance concerns, because the first year when we used them, it was really difficult actually to change student behavior after they had gotten to a really high level of absence rate. And we're hoping that maybe they'd have more success if they worked with some students preemptively. So as students got closer to that truancy level.
I thought we did have someone though, because at the last BPAC meeting that I attended, there was a staff member who works in attendance, and I don't know if
Yes.
she works for the dean or.
Yeah, so we do
and-
have that
and
person.
her whole presentation was how to focus on students with low attendance rates, and whether it was Hispanic, Black, whatever it was, but her goal was to collaborate with different committees to see like how could they come to some kind of a platform on how to get these kids and families to
Yes, we
call
do.
in, to engage a little bit more
Yeah.
in sending the child in.
We do that. So those positions exist. They've been, we've had them for a couple years now, one at each campus. The individual, it could be the individual that talked to the group, the individual that was in that position here at Almond, applied for and was offered and took the bilingual teacher support position. And so we have an opening right now with that attendance specialist position. We're talking, we did not open that up to be filled right away. We're talking as an administrative team on, or through some of the struggles that those positions have had, and we're not sure that we've been able to see a return. I think the people that are in those positions have had some level of frustration themselves. So we're considering the possibility that there might be some reorganization in the future with the student services department, and maybe that type of position could be used in a different way. The FTE could be used in a different way. Right now, if we didn't fill that, it would mean that we just have one attendance specialist for the district. It's a lot of work. Because of the amount of work, right now, our thought is...
Load, how many kids are we talking about?
I don't know that offhand, and I don't know if Dr. Keeley knows that offhand. Generally, what...
Yeah, 100?
I don't know how many exactly
It was
students
a
that
good
they're working
amount
with.
from the meeting that I attended, but even like in that conversation, just speaking to like the BPAC families, one of the things that was stated was, and asking the parents that were on the committee, some of the feedback that they gave is they dial in to do their absence, but there's no like immediate prompt of like, if for Spanish, dial 1, right? So they're going through the English prompt, so they just hang up. Another thing is they're not, they don't really know how to navigate the Power School parent portal. So we talked about, okay, well, maybe like freshman orientation, or there's an evening where we gather, in general, families, right? And we teach them how to navigate the parent portal, right? Do a workshop, our workshop. So there are a lot of really great ideas. So maybe that's something that we can expand on.
Yeah, I do think that out of that meeting, one of the specific things we are doing this summer is reprogramming our telephone prompts so they're easier to navigate. What we're considering as an administrative team is not filling that position. We would take the current attendance specialist who has been working at Eau Plaine and just continue to have them focus on Eau Plaine. It seems like with the attendance data, we have seen some improvement at Eau Plaine. We haven't seen improvement. In fact, things are pretty level at Almond, if not slightly worse. I don't think statistically they're worse necessarily, but it's stagnant at Almond. Right now, our thought is we could try another year with the attendance specialist at Eau Plaine, because an Eau Plaine approach allows us to impact and work with students as they're building habits. And when you're talking with a junior or a senior about attendance habits that they've had for 2 or 3 years, they look at you and they say, you know what, my attendance, it's working out. Like I'm on track to graduate. My attendance might not be what you want it to be, but there is a low incentive for them to change by the time that they're a junior or senior. There is what I'm curious is if you're okay with that idea, because we would literally be saying we're going to give less attendance focus at Almond the upcoming year. I think that's an okay thing to do because we've had the position for 2 years and have not been able to see the improvement that we want. And we have some reorganization possibilities in the short term that we could use that position for differently.
Related to that, and a dumb question, but what tools does an attendance specialist have to work with?
Great.
How can they do that job?
Yeah, it's two things. It's love and persuasion would be the first bucket. You're just trying to love families back to the building and help them work
Talking to
through.
the parents, or?
Yeah, you're working with parents and students and trying to help them feel like it's beneficial for them. Secondly, they do have a budget for incentives and prizes, and so as students get close to that truancy level, they're starting to have too many absences, then we'll say, hey, if you can hit this goal, then we'll put you in a raffle.
It's all carrot, no stick?
The attendance specialists are mostly carrot, no stick.
Last question, I'm sorry. In my day, the parent had to call in. Does the parent have to call in? Can the student
Yes.
call themselves in?
Not according to the rules. I mean, Ferris Bueller did it, but right. But generally, that is the expectation
supposed to
that
call.
the parent's calling in. Yeah.
So it seems to me, working with the parents.
Now with technology, they can sign in their parent portal and log the absence. So it's super easy if you do it on the phone or on the computer, but the parent has to know how to access it and where to navigate.
Wouldn't it be easy to just send the parent an email that you were logged on and your kid's not coming in?
Yeah.
But not everyone reads emails.
Yeah. What I would propose, the way you think about it, is that. All right. Let me talk about it from my perspective, because I have a student who just graduated as a senior. One of the things that the pandemic did to us is it made us rethink FaceTime and time in the classroom. So, to be honest, as a parent, if my son tells me, hey, my grade's going to be okay if I don't go to class today because I can turn in the assignment still, and I might get hit a little bit on the points, but not fully because I can make that up. My son has little incentive to go in because his grade, the way the grade's calculated, lets him turn in those assignments. And as a parent, I usually believe my kid. So if my kid says, hey, I got something else I want to do on a Friday afternoon, and I say, well, do you need to be there for your grade? And he says, no, it'll work out. I believe my kid. And that's just kind of the reality now.
Talked about different projects, pulling things back that aren't working is something we want to do.
Yes.
So if it's not working, then stop doing it.
We encourage it, actually.
Do something different, I'm not saying abandon the process, but just do something different. It's the same with anything. If we don't need them, we don't need them. I mean, class, teachers,
it's
whatever,
not
it doesn't matter.
We've been fortunate to get this money, but it's, we have to just it's still taxpayer money that we need to use very, very wisely. And the biggest part of our budget, every school district budget, is salary and benefits. And we have to utilize 100%, maximize every position. I think it's agreed, fair, and encouraged to rethink things if they're not working, database decisions. And we need to be able to adjust. And this is one of those examples of that. I mean, as long as that's what the team sees and the data shows, I think you
thank
have
you.
our blessing with it. Is there anything else, Dr. Danny?
Nope,
for
that's all I have. I
that
appreciate the
section? I
comments.
appreciate the discussion on that. Thank you. All right. Is there anything that anyone else has before I close us here? No. As we bring our meeting to a close, a reminder that at a governance level, we are respectful, resilient, engaged, now and always. Go Blue Devils. We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Okay. Motion having been made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. The time is 8:46 p.m. Have a good night.
Thank you.